perfect intro for this segment. It's Like That by Run DMC. And you know what it's like? It's like Aaron Rodgers is as selfish as they can be. And I know we've gotten over this whole Aaron Rodgers conversation. He signed a new deal. Devontae Adams is now with the Las Vegas Raiders doing his thing with his former Fresno State quarterback in Derek Carr. But I was searching the depths of the interweb and I came across an old audio clip that we discussed at length about 3.5 years ago. Greg Jennings and Colin Cowherd, which you can hear Colin Cowherd right here on Fox Sports 980, 95.9 FM, said something interesting. And I kind of moved along off of it. I'm like, okay, yeah, when teams separate from their quarterback or, a player separates from their team, sometimes it's often a little messy. Drama happens, whatever. So be it. Fast forward to 2022. The things that we continue to learn about Aaron Rodgers, the ongoing saga of Jordan Love being drafted, nobody told Aaron. Aaron is all about relationships. That's all he keeps saying. Relationship, relationship, relationship. Brian Gutekunst doesn't have a relationship with me. I am done with this team. Blah, blah, blah. I want to be traded at the end of the season. All right, I'll come back. We'll see how it works in the offseason. More than likely, I want to explore my options at the end of the season. They lose yet again in the playoffs. And instead of being traded, instead of moving on, he comes back on a big deal with the Green Bay Packers. And he says, whatever he says, the relationships have really come along and evolved this last season or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Then I come across this interview with Greg Jennings and Colin Cowherd from 2018. And what Greg Jennings said, what we just pushed aside, what Jermichael Finley has said in the past, we've pushed aside. But looking at what we see now, I think we need to revisit Greg Jennings and what he said back in 2018. And just for a reminder out there, for those of you that didn't listen to that Colin Cowherd interview with Greg Jennings in 2018, here's just a clip of what I was talking about.
Our first game of the season, we're playing San Francisco, the 49ers in Lambeau. And it's a timeout. Carlos Rodgers, corner, comes up to me. He's playing with the 49ers. He's like, man, what's going on, man? Why aren't they getting you the ball? Why they got you running these little simple routes? And I'm like, I don't know, man. You know how I go. When you contract year, you don't know what's going on. Aaron is right here. He's kind of listening to the conversation. He says, you guys should get him after this year. You guys should try to get him. I look like, what? Like, this is the first game of the season. And my guy is already pretty much passed me along.
Now, that was just one thing. That was one thing. All right. First of all, your quarterback should have your back no matter what. You don't need to have a personal relationship outside of football, but when it comes to football, when it comes to being on that field, it is a brotherhood. You should have each other's backs. What happens in the locker room stays in the locker room. What happens on the field stays on the field. You guys got each other's backs no matter what. So that's number one. Number two, Greg Jennings, gone after the season. And I don't blame him. Why play somewhere where you're not feeling wanted? But for Aaron Rodgers to sit there and say it's all about relationships, and then revisiting this with Greg Jennings, who at the time was back-to-back Pro Bowl seasons. Now, he ended up getting hurt in that 2012 season, which really hurt his value. He ended up signing with the Vikings for 2 years and then moving on to the Dolphins. So he was more at the end of his career, but he was a back-to-back Pro Bowl wide receiver. And they moved on from him at the snap of a finger. And Aaron Rodgers moved on from him before the 2012 season started, apparently. So that's one thing to take away, that a guy complaining about relationships talks about this and discusses that he's ready to move on from a receiver that was a back-to-back Pro Bowl type of wide receiver and still had a very good season in Minnesota the following year, coming back from a groin injury that lingered all season long from 2012. Then Greg went on to say something else that really caught my ear.
That on top of all of what I did already know, and how I did feel like when you're in a relationship, you overlook a lot of things because you're in that relationship and you want that relationship to work. You want to give everything to it. And so you're willing to overlook every flaw, and every relationship has them. But when you're now out of that relationship, you either walk away and you're like, no, they're fine, they're great, you're on great terms, or you walk away and it's messy.
And they walked away. It was messy. And that wasn't just Greg Jennings. There's been other outlooks from other players, such as Jermichael Finley, among others. And let's be honest, the Aaron Rodgers vibe has always been that of one that he really kept to himself. He wants to talk about relationships. What about relationships with your significant others, with Shanae Woodley and, Danica Patrick, as well as, Olivia Munn and all these others, and it never worked out. And obviously, we've all had relationships that didn't work out. But then you dig deeper. What about the relationship with your family? What about the relationship with Jordan Rodgers, your brother? You haven't spoken to your family in however long. That when Jordan Rodgers was on that dating show, they barely mentioned Aaron Rodgers because he wasn't involved with the family. But all of a sudden, you fast forward to 2020, 2021, 2022, it's relationships. That was the key word when he spoke on ESPN that day, where he came out and he talked relationships and just talked around in circles. And nobody really understood what he meant because he just kept saying relationships over and over again. Are you really about the relationships? Davante Adams decided to move on and go back to his Fresno State quarterback, Derek Carr, which probably is a better situation for Davante Adams. Let's be honest. Aaron Rodgers has never had an outstanding work ethic. He has never been that guy that's going to blow you away in the offseason. He's done the work that he's supposed to do. But one great player has once told me, everybody does the work they're supposed to do. But it's who you are behind the scenes when nobody's looking that makes you that player. It's not what you do on the field on Sunday. It's what you do behind the scenes Monday through Saturday or in the offseason. And Aaron Rodgers has never been that workout warrior. He's never been Tom Brady. He's not going to eat avocado ice cream. He's not going to work every single second of the offseason. He's going to do his, hey, I'm going to come in at 6 a.m., I'm going to work out till 8 a.m., and then we're going to have practice from 8 to whatever. Meanwhile, other quarterbacks, other players are in there at 5, 4:30, 4:15, 3:30. I'm going to do more work. Oh, practice is done at 6 o'clock? All right. See you guys tomorrow. Tom Brady's like, hey, Julian Edelman, hey, come here. I know it's 6 o'clock. I know you want to go home, whatever. Let's throw a couple more balls. I want to get involved a little more. And that's been the difference between a guy like Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers has been so talented that he can overcome some of these things. But he has never been able to generate the kind of relationship. We always talk about guys like Carson Wentz, who is not a natural born leader. It is time to put it out in the world. Aaron Rodgers is not a natural born leader. He's just not. And we continue to get quotes. We continue to see with our eyes. I'm sorry. If I have one go-to guy that I trust, I am not letting them go. You see what Tom Brady is doing in Tampa Bay, and I know we keep going to Tom Brady, but when you want to be the best at your position, you got to be compared to the best. You see what Tom Brady did in Tampa Bay? When he first signed 2 years ago, he goes, I'm going to call the shots. If I want Antonio Brown to be on my team, Antonio Brown's going to be on my team. Bruce Arians, no. Guess what? Antonio Brown was on that team. And for 16 games, Antonio Brown played like a number one wide receiver and helped them win a Super Bowl. Tom Brady wanted this guy on his team. Guess what? They go ahead and they get this guy. I want Leonard Fournette. All right, we're going to get Leonard Fournette. I want Rob Gronkowski. Okay, we'll get Rob Gronkowski. Aaron Rodgers was put into that situation. He was contemplating retirement, contemplating getting traded, contemplating coming back to the Packers. If I'm Aaron Rodgers, I'm 38 years old. It's no longer about putting up stats, going through the motion. We all know football does not mean as much to Aaron Rodgers as it does to Tom Brady or other quarterbacks. And I know I keep going back to the Tom Brady situation. But Aaron Rodgers to football is what Andrew Luck was to football. They didn't need football. They wanted football, but they don't need football. That's what Aaron Rodgers is. And it shows in the work ethic. It shows in the postseason. And it shows with who he is when he's coming back to the Packers or mulling not coming back to the Packers, whether that's retirement or a trade. Because if I was Aaron Rodgers, I would say, did you watch that playoff game? It was me and Devontae out there. And if you want me back, if you want me to continue to stay with the Green Bay Packers, because not only am I the best opportunity for you to win the Super Bowl, you're my best opportunity to win a Super Bowl. I want Devontae Adams. I'm going to sign a 4-year deal. Devontae Adams needs to be here for the next 4 years. That's it. Case closed. You want me, you got to have Devontae. That's the same thing that Tom Brady's doing in Tampa. Oh, you want me back? I don't need football. I can retire. I'm done. I won 7 Super Bowls. I would love to continue to play. But guess what? I'm going to step away being just fine with where I am in my career. Oh, you want me to come back? Okay. I'm going to come out of retirement, but I would like Bruce Arians to step down as head coach. I would like to get Russell Gage at the wide receiver, re-sign Chris Godwin, bring in some offensive line help because we dealt with some injuries last year. And guess what? All that happened. Oh, Logan Ryan was a former teammate of mine with the Patriots. I want him to come over to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because he can help us win. All right, done deal. What is Aaron Rodgers doing? Oh, you want to offer me $200 million? Bring it. I'm taking it. I know I'm 38, and I know I won 1 Super Bowl, and I know I'm one of the most efficient quarterbacks of all time because guess what? I don't take risks. But I just know if we get rid of Devontae Adams, that we can go back to this. It's not Aaron, it's the team. Aaron had a top 5 wide receiver at his position, a top 5 running back at his position, a top 5 offensive line in most years. Now, the defense has been hit or miss, but the last couple of years, it's been hit. And Aaron Rodgers has not raised the bar on his own level. He is not taking that team over the hump. And now he can go back to say, hey, I claimed my money. The Packers wanted me. I want the Packers. We may never win another Super Bowl as long as I'm here the next 4 years, or potentially I'll leave earlier because I can retire. But it's not my fault. Aaron Rodgers just wants to look like the good guy and tries way too hard to look like the good guy. It's not him. He's not a natural born leader. He does not care about relationships, although he tries to in the media. He does not care about relationships because everything around it has proven otherwise. My mom has always said actions speak louder than words. So while I hear relationship, I see that you're selfish. And it goes back to what Greg Jennings said 4 years ago, 3.5 years ago on Colin Cowherd.
That on top of all of what I did already know, and how I did feel like when you're in a relationship, you overlook a lot of things because you're in that relationship and you want that relationship to work. You want to give everything to it. And so you're willing to overlook every flaw, and every relationship has them. But when you're now out of that relationship, you either walk away and you're like, no, they're fine, they're great, you're on great terms, or you walk away and it's messy.
I'm going to tell you right now, Aaron Rodgers made his bed. He's got to lie in it. Didn't get things going with Greg Jennings that year. Greg Jennings dealt with injury. Didn't get things going in the offseason with Davante Adams, signed the contract knowing exactly what was going to happen, knowing that he was in a position of power to make power moves, and chose not to when he had relationships on the line with guys like Davante Adams. Well, guess what? Aaron Rodgers, you're out of excuses. And although Tom Brady has accomplished so much in his career, 7 Super Bowls, you have one. And I know it's a team sport, but at the end of the day, the team is around you. You just let it crumble. And nobody, and I'm telling you, nobody on the team is going to trust a guy that for the last 2-3 off seasons, you're questioning whether you should retire or move on. They want stability. Davante Adams wants stability. Did you even talk to Davante Adams, say, hey, I'm signing back here for the next 4 years. I want you here for the next 4 years. I bet you didn't. And I'm out of excuses. I'm tired of excuses. Aaron Rodgers, you need to get over the hump. You have a very good head coach. You have a very good offensive line. You got a very good defense. Now the wide receiver's thin, but you have nobody to blame but yourself for that. And it's time for you to put up or shut up, because I'm over it. You talk about being about relationships, but you're not.